All right, so first question comes from YouTube, from our longtime viewer, Cameron White. How are staghorns made? Staghorn buttons made?
You take a horn and you cut it up and put holes in it.
Pretty much.
No, there's more nuance
Most
to it,
of
but-
the staghorn buttons on tweed jackets and vests is essentially what he's talking about. So most of the buttons that you're going to see are actually imitation staghorn. The where they're just plastic and then they have little like globs of darker stuff on the top and globs of things that make it look like actual natural staghorn.
Actual antler. Yeah.
Staghorn, for those who don't know, are the antlers of stags that are naturally shed in the forest. You don't have to kill the animal to get staghorn. There are people who go out and just collect them. One of the issues that that has kind of cropped up in harvesting staghorn is that they're used for dog chew toys, and they're used a lot in Japan. I forget why, but there's been a run on it, so to speak. So it's been more difficult to get staghorn, like for our kilt pins and for our skin views and stuff like that. It's been more difficult to get. But that being said, the vast majority for jackets are imitation. You can get real ones on occasion. They're cut basically out of the surface of it. You don't just cut across and then carve it down to be a circle, because then you're missing the beauty of the surface of the horn. So a lot of them are actually circular cut, down the shaft of the stag. Yeah.
Because I would have assumed it's just like you take a horn and you just like chop like you're chopping up a pickle or something.
Correct, but it's not going to be perfectly cylindrical and consistent all the way down.
Or it's going to get bigger also because it's a cone.
Correct.
You have this tiny button and then a big button. But
yeah, so you don't want to have inconsistent sized buttons. So they're just taking like imagine like one of the saws, the circular saw things that you like to cut a hole in your door
for a doorknob, yeah.
For a doorknob or something like that. Correct. You use that. You cut it in, and it's only going to be, I think it's like, Mac, what are staghorn buttons? 3/4 inch wide or so?
Yeah.
3/4 inch to an inch, and then there's generally two sizes. And there's a couple different companies that make them. Some of them make them that they're a little bit wider, and then they like cut a weird hole in the center. I don't like that much. But yeah.
Interesting. I would hazard a guess that traditionally they were probably cutting them more like slicing up a pickle or a carrot or something, but then they'd file them down to get to the size they want. Like they'd round it off, with a file or another knife blade of some kind. I mean,
Agreed.
because the thing we're talking about, the circular saw you're talking about, that's a modern industrial piece of machine.
Yeah, but then you're missing. Well, I don't know.
But they didn't care. I mean, I'm saying that now we're looking for a beauty in the button, whereas back in the day they were probably just looking for a button.
We'll have to look for old jackets with staghorn buttons, because now I'm actually curious about this. We don't know the answer. Now we're speculating, and I want to see if you have the pattern, the grain that develop the patina that develops on the surface of the staghorn versus a clean cut where it just looks essentially like bone. Because a lot of people call staghorn buttons, oh, I want the bone buttons. Well, they're not bone; they're actually staghorn, that kind of thing. But if it's a flat white, then yes, it's probably cut across. If it's surface, then...
Or if you have the crinkles, then that's the outer edge of the horn, so that would be cut across.
Or if it's... Yeah, if you just...
But the ones you're talking about, like, it looks like bark, then that's cut out of the side.
Yeah, that's the outside,
Yeah, okay. Interesting.
So, good question.
There's probably more than one way to cut a button.
Exactly.
More than one way to skin an antler.
Fair. Without killing it this time.
I want. Yeah, no, they just collect them in the fall after the rut.
Yep.
Because they drop the antlers anyway.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Absolutely. You just run around the woods and, there's some.
Right.
I don't know how many you find, but it sounds like a great and boring as heck job.
That's what you make the kids do.
Fair. Yeah. Go get lost. Hansel and Gretel. Get out in the woods. It's fine. There's no witches. Okay. Right. Hope that helps.
Sometimes with Highland dress, the devil or the fun is in the details. This is a vest of mine that has imitation staghorn buttons, but I do really like the all-natural ones. So what do you think? I mean, is it worth spending the extra money for that little kind of a chef's kiss thing or not? Tell us in the comments what your threshold for luxurious accessories is.